Men are very nervous around going on a date with a girl for many reasons, right? Understandably, until you get confident. And one of the common ones is, I'm nervous about where am I going to take the girl on a date. Like, what if she doesn't like the venue, or what if I can't find a good venue, right? I'm going to address that in a second. Another common one is, you know, what will I say on the date? I'm worried that's going to be awkward. What if I'm boring? What if I don't come across interesting? So obviously this is a confidence issue, because when you have more confidence and self-esteem in yourself, you won't worry about these little mishaps, because you can do a thing what all successful people do, and you've got the confidence to adapt. And I know this is a different thing, but sometimes I like to quote people so I can explain it to a wide audience. I remember Floyd Mayweather got asked the question, what's the secret to your success, or success in general? And he said to make adjustments or to adapt, same thing. So to be able to be in a situation, not just in the boxing ring, but to be in life, a challenge presents itself, i.e. you're on a date with a girl, you're trying to find a venue, and all of a sudden the venue that you wanted to take her to is full up. So you can't go in there, there's no seating arrangements. So now what are you going to do? Are you going to let fear, anxiety, and you're going to care too much about what your date thinks, and you're going to fall apart? And then you can make a fool of yourself, and then she is going to judge you. Of course she's going to judge you. You think, this guy, he can't really handle that little bit of stress. Or you're going to be calm and collected. As Teddy Atlas would say, be calm in an uncalm place. So you're going to feel some stress inside. Breathe, relax, and say, it's okay, we'll find another place. Can't use this place, obviously, it's not your fault. And then you can communicate, just be honest with her. Make it positive, say, oh, I'm a bit disappointed, I wanted to go here. How about we find somewhere better together? So you've got to take control of the situation, or to have the courage to not try to control everything, and you both take control of the situation, you and the girl, collaboratively, and that can start building a nice energy, rather than letting that sort of negative energy spill out. That can ruin relationships and potentially ruin everything. So this is really about getting your confidence up. Now, a lot of you will say, well, how do we get our confidence up? And I've been explaining that for years on the channel. Well, the first way is boxing training. If you really want a way that guarantees works for self-esteem and confidence, especially with women and dating and relationships and people skills, boxing. Fit body, fit mind. When you're fit and you're healthy, your mind works better. And when your mind works better, you're more confident. Because with confidence comes communication, handling stress, managing anxiety, being able to turn negatives into positives, being able to adapt, being adjustable. Adjustable, sound like a spanner. So it's just being flexible and not panicking when things go wrong. And that can sometimes make the date better. I've had certain situations, guys, on a date where I planned a certain venue. I took the lady there for a date and it was full up. And it made the date go better because we made a joke out of it. And we went and found a better venue, or the date didn't go exactly how I planned it. But because I was honest with the girl and I didn't try and be perfect, and I was able to still be confident and calm, we had an amazing date, we had a great connection. So it's all these things. It's all these things that you've got to do, but they're simple in practice, but it takes a lot of courage, obviously, to work through those anxieties and not let anxiety and fear overwhelm you to the point where you can't focus, you can't communicate, you can't think, you can't see a way out of a perceived negative situation and turn it into a positive one. So that's how you do it. You know, and on a just simple level, learn different venues. You know, I learn a lot of venues. If that place is booked, you know another place. If that place is too busy, you've got another place. Be flexible. If the bars are busy and it's a nice date, go to the park for a date. Parks are lovely over a coffee. You know, if it's raining and the park, you can't go to the park because you don't want to get wet, go into a nice coffee shop. You know, or go to a nice. So it's just common sense, really. And it's not see, you care too much about what people think, and that's when you start feeding that and letting that take over, that can just ruin everything. So it really is that, you know. And see, this is what guys don't get, and I'm trying to educate you on it. Like, girls don't care as much as we care about what they think. So if you try and get a venue and you can't go, if you're easygoing, then the likelihood is the girl or the woman that you're on a date with she'll be relaxed too. Like, women are not that different to guys, to men. They're not that different, right? We have some differences, obviously, but they're human like we are. You can communicate and say to them, you can call it out and say, oh, I'm a bit stressed, I wanted a nice place, in a positive way. And she'll be like, oh, that's fine, don't worry, we'll go somewhere else. So in most places you can go somewhere else. It's not being obsessed that we have to go to this place. But obviously it is good to do some organising and have a place in mind, but you've got to be flexible. And that's a rule of thumb for all life, but especially on dates. Now, to address the second one with regards to, you know, not knowing what to say, it's sometimes you just got to go through that. You've got to go through these things and grow through these things so that you learn the social skills. And you're not so scared if the conversation does dry up or there is some awkward silences. Again, it's turning negatives into positives. So if you're in an awkward situation with a girl on a date, it's that positivity to be able to go from there and turn it around, make a joke, ask a question, pick the conversation back up, call it out, be honest, say, it's awkward right now, but in a positive way. So it's about your attitude, and it's what you project onto the situation. So if you project positivity onto a negative situation, in most cases, I'm not saying all, but most situations become positive. But a lot of people will project negative emotions and negative thoughts and feelings onto a perceived negative situation, and we just have two negatives. So that's what I started to think. So I went through all these things, as you could tell. I cared about everything. I was afraid, oh man. But I got better over time. I stopped caring. And the more you stop caring, you know what happens? With the confidence that comes, you become way more honest, which is a good thing. More honest, more respectful women, and they find that more attractive. And then they're more honest with you, and then you can feel more comfortable. So a big part of this conversation thing is around this honesty. A lot of guys are at a point where they don't have that confidence right now to be vulnerable with a woman. And vulnerability, some people might think, oh, it means I'm going to start crying. I can be vulnerable, but not to that extreme. Vulnerability is, I'm under pressure right now. I'm a bit disappointed. I feel awkward that I was hoping this place would be available. You know, and it's that honesty that is admirable. And the girl will be like, that's fine. She'll understand because you've called it out in a positive way, and you're not afraid to show your vulnerabilities and to show some insecurity. And that just comes across as a strength in most cases, right? In most cases, you can't generalize. I can't say every woman's going to react well, but most women will. They'll be fine. That's what's happened to me in my experience. A woman doesn't mind if we try to go to a dating venue and it's full up. She understands. It can happen to anyone, as long as you can be calm, and it can be quite fun, and it can make a nice energy on a date where you both go for a walk and find another place. And a walk and a talk can be a great way to connect. And you can sit down and get food or go to a few places. So it's just having that self-control. So it's the communication side, and that follows into the conversation. You know, when you've got more confidence in yourself, conversation comes more effortlessly. It comes easier because there's a lot of positivity. There's a feel-good factor. And when you've got the feel-good factor, it's easy for the conversation to flow from that point, and for the words to come, and the stories to come, and the questions, and the right energy. But if you feel bad about yourself and you're down and depressed and you're not working at being better and training and doing all the things I talk about on this channel, it's going to be hard to flow in conversation because you're down, you're demotivated, you're depressed, your mind's running wild. So get your mind right as best as you can. And the way to do it, I said, is the boxing and the training, and facing your fears and going to events and working at it and getting a mentor. So when you do go on dates, you go on a date with a full cup rather than an empty cup, looking for the girl to approve you, make you feel good. And women don't want that, most women. They want a guy to be confident in himself, to not need her to make you feel good. That's not her job to do that. You know, girls are not our parents, it's not a mother. So we have to find confidence, self-esteem in us. So we have to be perfect. Nobody is. No man or woman's perfect, but that's not an excuse to not be a lot better than how you are now. So it's the confidence, it's the self-esteem. And if you don't go through these mishaps and failures, you're not going to build it. So I know it's a bit of a contradiction because guys generally want a solution, and I'm giving it to you, and they don't want these things to happen because it feels bad, it knocks your confidence. But unfortunately, you can't really get to where you want to get to without going through these things, going and growing from them. And I went through them and I grew from them, which is why I could teach people, why I got better. I had to learn. But of course, if you can eradicate and minimize the mistakes, which you will do if you take my advice, then that's obviously even better, isn't it? If you can learn from my mistakes or someone else's, you won't have to make as many of your own. But at the same time, you don't want to be so sensitive that you can't fail. You need to toughen up and be able to fail and not let that break you. So all these things is how you get over these things. And, you know, and just like I said, a huge part of it is the respect for women. A lot of guys, unfortunately, don't have that today because of the self-hatred towards himself and letting things get the better of them and taking advice from people that are not really qualified to give you advice. You can't really take advice from a guy if he's got a terrible outlook on women and he doesn't respect women, how can he teach you how to love women and how to get on better and have that good relationship? You can't do that because he can't do it. So take advice from a guy who has got good relationships with women and has got respect and can connect with women and be honest and not manipulative, if they're the values that you live by. So all of you can do it, 100%. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. I'm no different. The only difference might be that my mindset and my determination and drive. But that's for you to get that, to figure that out for yourself. Because like I said before, I can't wipe your backside for you. You've got to do that. I give you everything I can give you, and this is a hell of a lot. I'm sure you appreciate it. For those of you that don't, that's fine. That's all right. So the rest is up to you, and your dates will go great. You'll find a great venue. If you can't find one, you'll figure it out. Sometimes, you know, a girl will say, oh, I know a place, don't worry about it. Like, you've tried to take her, you've tried. You can't do any more than that. And you're a gentleman. Be a gentleman, have good manners on a date, be yourself, be confident. You're going to do great with women. You find a nice girl, you build nice connections. But obviously, you've got to work at your confidence to get to that point. You don't just come out of bed and then you're confident. If you've started at a disposition like I did and all of you did, you've got to work at improving it. The gym builds confidence, socializing, facing your fears, being accountable, and addressing addictions. All these things build confidence, all right? Like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and good luck with your dates, guys, all right? Fearless.